Welcome to this week's Vero Coaches Wrap. Murray Davis here to review our Round 7 game v Port Power. Obviously started the game really well, created a lot of opportunities. Second quarter was disappointing, went into the half-time break down by 30 points, and the boys had a pretty good attitude to go out into the third quarter and try and peg some of the lead back. Unfortunately, Port kicked the first goal of the third quarter, and then we went on to kick the next 4 points and subsequently another 3 behinds after that. So we were only able to manage 7 behinds in the third quarter, and that was really the difference. A couple of things I'll cover off today. We got some advantage in the middle with Steph Martin. You'll see here this stat where we dominate the hit-outs, yet we get smashed in centre clearances. And just to give you a bit of an insight into how that happens, a lot of it is basically what happens in the midfield. So you'll see there just a quick kick out from Port Power. This is just another one here where Trengove, the ruckman, gets involved. We missed a lot of tackles during the game. You'll see a few here where we're just not able to stick the tackle and Port are able to win the clearance. So even though we were getting our hands on the ball in the centre bounce and centre clearance, we weren't able to actually gain any ascendancy in there. So a lot of it is to do with the follow-up work, and you'll see the ball spill out here, and then we miss a tackle on this occasion. So that's something that we'll continue to keep working on with the players, because it's not good enough to be able to win the advantage in the centre bounce and then not be able to get the ball going forward our way. So you'll see that statistic there, 18 to 47. So that means we were winning the hit-outs, but there is a stat which is hit-outs to advantage. And you'll read there in the first quarter, it was 8 hit-outs to Port's 1, which gave us plus 11 in first possession and 4 clearances. But after quarter time, unfortunately, that stat really went Port Adelaide's way, and we only managed 6 hit-outs to advantage, and we lost first possession by minus 17 and minus 21 in the clearance. So this is an example of it here, just going through it, where Steph Martin gets his hands on the footy first, and his opponent or opposing ruckman Trengove is able to win the ball at ground level. So that was a disappointing result for us. What that did was really put our defence under the pump. Charlie Dixon had 5 goals for the game, and I'm just going to go through some of them here. With Dan Merritt ruled out prior to the game, we were fairly young down back, and we put our young defence under a lot of pressure by not being able to gain some ascendancy in the middle of the field. So you'll see here, free kick, Port Power pick up the ball and move it really quickly to make the most of a 1v1. Wasn't all on Harris Andrews, although Dixon kicked the 5 goals, and I just wanted to give the fans a bit of an insight into some things that happened. So this one here, Darcy Gardner against Young from Port Adelaide, unable to get the ball out of bounds. They sort of sweep the ball down, and you'll see Dixon take a fairly uncontested mark there. But what actually happens is behind the ball, you'll see Harris, I've highlighted him there next to Charlie Dixon. So as this ball is contested on the wing, we don't get the ball out of bounds, and you'll see all of a sudden that we've got 3 players up at the contest and Harris marking 3. So I'm sure the fans will be asking how that happens. We certainly as coaches ask how that happens, and it's really just being organised and being able to swivel your head and make sure that we don't get caught short like we do on this occasion, because as you saw it play out, ball comes forward and Harris is now marking 2 opponents. So that was one of the 5 goals. The other one, just from a stoppage, they're able to go forward, and Charlie Dixon gets a fairly easy handball here from Westhoff. So Harris again guarding 2 players. So had his hands full on the day. One of the things that we found during the game also was a little bit of our inability to hold our feet in the contest. So there was some questions asked a bit around the footwear, and as the coaching group, we certainly advise the players. The players do a test run on what boots they will wear. They always bring a couple of different pairs and what they feel comfortable, and that's really important for the players. It's much about comfort as it is about making sure you hold your feet in the contest. And just this clip here, Ryan Lester sort of goes to ground in the contest. Ben Keys comes in, Alan Christensen goes to ground. So sometimes it's a choice thing, sometimes it's a footwear thing, and sometimes it's even a footwork thing as well, which is what we talk to the players a lot about, is being able to eliminate anything and take ownership and control of what you can. So this is a good example of Ryan Harwood, who slips over. Is it footwear or is it footwork? And we talk through Ryan with this particular one. It's certainly the footwork side of things. It's not what he's wearing on his feet. So we talk about too long a stride. We talk about where he lines himself up with the player, and basically where he should be is in line with that player's inside shoulder. So that's the look that we're after there with Ryan. But he overcommits, and then he sort of trips over and loses his feet mainly because of his poor footwork. So that's something that we'll continue to work with the players on. And pleasingly, just the last thing is Dane Beams' return. Terrific to see him back out there. I've highlighted him here in this one where he works to the contest. We win the ball. He pushes really hard back inside our forward 50. We get a good spoil on the ball, or he turns up in the right spot. So it's a terrific performance by Dane. He had the 30 disposals, of which were 15 uncontested and 15 contested possessions, which we've really missed from, and that's why he's such an important player for us, and also the one goal. So just some of his work was obviously well received by the playing group. They love having him back out there. This is some of his work in tight, where he just flicks out the quick handball. So he'll only get better with every game he plays. Even on this one here, he's in a position where he has to stand under the pack and takes a really good mark. So he's a really important player for us, so we love to have him back out there, and I'm sure everyone will be looking forward to seeing him back against his old team on Saturday night against Collingwood. So hopefully we can turn things around. We've had some good performances here at the Gabba, and we hope to see everyone along supporting the boys. Mentally, yeah, you're right. It's a big part of the game. It's not only preparing them physically, but also mentally. And what we do as coaches, we try and narrow the focus for them, so that each of the players will have one or two focuses to work on. And our part in that is just being able to work with them and remind them of what the triggers are during the game. So that's our input into that mental side of the game. Been really impressed with Ben Keys. He's doing some terrific work in our forward line, and we know that he can go into the midfield in time, whether that is in short patches or whether that's for long periods. We'll continue to work with that. With Tom Rockcliffe out of the side, he may have more of a role in there, but we'll continue to work with him. He's doing some great stuff forward at the moment.